God.
The world watched in action as George Floyd took his last breath.
Listen. These niggas stay hating, I pay them no mind, stay focused on cash routes, yeah. I be on that dolo, but I'm never so low, keep a stick in the stash spot. I try to be humble, if they wanna rumble, I bet I'ma pull it and blast out. Bad bitch on my side, she gon' cash out, post my bill, take me home and I smash out. Right back to the suit, you know how I do, stay dropping the classic on niggas, but they need the smoke that I'm on. My beef with the police and how they stay blasting on niggas. I see how they really change fashion with niggas, this shit be feminine. Real men are laughing at niggas, be living in tragic, my niggas, but they don't wanna speak on it, what's happening, niggas. This shit really hurts. We're supposed to be warriors from birth to the dirt, going harder when we feeling the worst, not raising our son in the skirt and the purse. It's like being black is a gift and a curse. Ever since the BBs, they wanted us in the hearse, and now the PB's about to do with the worst. And we still don't see that this shit is rehearsed. Not to promote violence, but violence is all they've been teaching us. Like that's the only way of reaching us. But generation been defeating us, but that shit's over, no more beating us. United we stand, divided we fall in the flames. The fire is heating up until it's justice and no peace in us. May all of these names rest in peace for us.
According to Kentucky law, the use of force by Mattingly and Cosgrove was justified to protect themselves. This justification bars us from pursuing criminal charges in Miss Breonna Taylor's death.
Trayvon Martin, an unarmed black teenager, was shot down by a white neighborhood watchman who claimed self-defense. Timothy Loman and Frank Garmbach in the shooting death of 12-year-old Tamir Rice. Rice was shot in November of last year after being spotted waving a gun in a park. It turned out to be a toy.
NYPD officer Daniel Venezuela is accused of using a chokehold on Eric Garner, who later died on Staten Island in 2014.
So he licensed to carry. He was trying to get out his ID and his wallet out his pocket, and he let the officer know that he had a firearm and he was reaching for his wallet, and the officer just shot him in his arm.
Not to promote violence, but violence is all they've been teaching us. Like that's the only way of reaching us. But generation been defeating us, but that shit's over, no more beating us. United we stand, divided we fall in the flames. The fire is heating up until it's justice and no peace in us. May all of these names rest in peace for us.
Detroit police officer who shot and killed a 7-year-old girl during a police raid.
Diana Jones' family and 2 lawsuits against the Detroit Police Department alleging excessive force, the violation of Diana's civil rights, negligence, assault and battery, infliction of emotional distress, and conspiracy to cover up the shooting.
Got the juice, man.
Yo, listen. Yo, I said I'm fucking tired of being fucking sick and tired. I'm hot like a live wire, cause my attire may soon expire. With my messiah corner boys, I look to as suppliers. My perception was wrong, but don't see them as liars. Maya Angelou, still I rise in the early morning. On the streets, the toughest soldiers that's misinformed. Squeezing the Mac, leading the pack, keep it a stack. Hoodie on, better know how to act. Some others stay neutral, some others decide to grow. But a man can only be what he knows. Some others disturb us calm, some others just let it flow. Can't channel the pain, then let it go, yo. Cold heartedness can't take me apart from this. Speak from my heart, so your heart is where my target is. And I'm stirring up the fear, so you know the biz. Cause this life ain't really what you think it is. This a game, roll the dice, but think twice. But the decisions you make could influence your life. Despite the regions, the apostle like Paul and Ephesians. I see your biggest fear is your inner demon. Everything in life happens for a reason. Apply pressure in every season, it's nothing easing. But I persevere here, pierce like a spear. I don't care, I'm out here with top tiers. Each chapter in life is a different segment. You can prolong living to a different extent. Ignorance is really hard to prevent. What's irrelevant? Not seeing reoccurring events. Define great, the one who sees and correct the mistake. Not much on his plate, his heart rests on blind faith shit. I gotta make it out somehow. I'm still hungry, been on the prowl for months now. But good food cooked slow, let it digest. And you can't always rush cause it's a process. And you can't develop with no progress. You got the key to open doors and access. Nah, I ain't running no more. Nigga, I ain't running no more. I ain't running no more. And for that, kick it down your front door. Cause nigga, we ain't running no more. We ain't running no more. Fuck that, we ain't running no more. We ain't running no more, we ain't running no more. And for that, kicking out your front door. Cause we ain't running no. Yo, I'm done running from reality. Now I see why they mad at me. They ain't glad to see, but rather see me as a casualty. Or out in the streets with no funds upon my salary, but still war ready with all of the troops of cavalry. We ain't on the same frequency. You hold back your true self in secrecy. No decency to say what you see in me, but blow shit out of proportion like TNT. If you're scared to lose, you got yourself to blame. No matter where we from, we still suffer the same. But it's still no pain, no gain as I try to regain these thoughts that have been restrained. And those feelings that I can't contain. Trauma sits on the heart as well as the brain. And you wonder why niggas insane. The lost souls on earth with no purpose to attain. But nah, nigga, I ain't running no more. Nigga, I ain't running no more. I ain't running no more. And for that, kicking on your front door. Cause nigga, we ain't running no more. We ain't running no more. Nigga, we ain't running no more. And for that, kicking on your front door. We ain't running no more. Nigga, we ain't running no more. Fuck that, we ain't running no more. Nigga.
Let's take it back to the basics. Looking at the man in the mirror, trying to face him after all this time wasted. Late nights, crooked souls, lost up in the matrix. Really hope God forgives, cause I've been on that spaceship, dancing with my devils, lost amongst my troubles, drowning from my burdens and all these fucking fumbles. But failure's only failure if you accept it as defeat, instead of looking for the lesson to get you back up on your feet. First you don't succeed, truth is you gotta try again. Defeat is just a state of mind that conquers over many men. Smart enough to know not all the glitter's gold, but still keep that shining ray of hope up inside my soul. And all I know is what I feel. I feel I'm climbing up this hill. To top it off, I got it all except this little record deal. So grab the wheel, let it go, but make it unforgettable. Life is yours, enjoy the ride until they have to rest your soul. God for blessings, devil's at the door, but he ain't on nobody's guest list. Dressed up in deception, looking so impressive. He said he ain't leaving till our soul's in his possession, but I'd rather rest in peace before I glorify his message. Battling the beast until my last dying seconds, looking for the answer in everything I question. When he answers right in front of me, staring my direction, my eyes won't accept it, instead I just reject it. But deep down we all know this world is so infected. What happened to humanity? More so the man in me, balance on the brink, but I'm fighting for my sanity. It's clear to me that clarity ain't so crystal clear to see. Everyone loses face chasing prosperity. Here today, gone tomorrow, what will be your legacy? Can you say respectably you were the man you claimed you be? All of the glitter is gold. Not all of the stories get told. This world that we live is so cold. The devil is after my soul.
Yeah. Indeed. Bam. What's up, everybody? What's happening? Let me get my microphone action happening a little better. Chow, round, chow. You know what I mean? What I'm saying to you? Yeah. That's what I like right there. That's what I like right there. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to, well, actually, not back to. This is the, I'm going to get the words up here. This is actually the very first episode, or the really first release episode of Uncle Robb Live. What used to be Uncle Robb Radio is now Uncle Robb Live. And I guess you may be wondering, well, why did you change the name? What was the purpose of doing all of that? Well, to make sure that we're getting everything more in line as a global television network, we saw fit that we had to start rebranding some things differently. And my show is one of them as well. I'm making sure that my volume is stopped because I'm watching I'm watching IMU TV. Watch me. However, we decided, to make it more branding, have more, just universal look, and a more, because we are a television, global television network. Again, how does it look for me saying Uncle Rob Radio on TV? Doesn't make much sense, right? So we ran rebranding this to now Uncle Rob Live, because they're now not only am I streaming live to all of my socials, X, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. We're also broadcasting live on IMU TV as well. So, with that being said, I'm happy. It's a great day. This is an exciting time. I'm back. I've been kind of just kind of drawn over a lot of different places over the past couple of weeks. I had some internal family things happen, real life changes happen. That took some serious amount of transition, and some it just kind of threw me all off a little, and had to get back in the groove and get back in the move to make this thing happen like it's supposed to happen. So I'm so happy to be back. And if you're tuning in with us, please tune in to anywhere. And make sure that if you have any questions for you, just jump on in or have any comments or whatever, please. And today actually is one of those days, or one of those shows that I'm hoping that we can get a lot of people taking part in the chat section to get some conversation going on, because we're getting ready to talk about a very sensitive subject today. You know what I'm saying? And it's the one that's necessarily to be done. But before I even begin to talk to you about the subject, I need to bring my co-host for the day in, my brother, who's been going down the rabbit hole with me for, this is our third episode and the third and final episode of the rabbit hole, at least until next time anyway. And then he's none other. He's my brother. We've been rocking and rolling with each other for quite some time. We met in some crazy, what we considered a negative situation, to turn the negative into a positive. We've come back out here into this world and doing what we're doing, and he and I have just been tight like that ever since. He's had to hit a little hiatus from the music industry and from X and all of that for a minute. He had to take care of some life things themselves, but he's been back. And since he's been back, he's taken X by storm, and he's taken the Web3 community by storm. And you already know who it is. It's my brother, none other than Slim the Boss. Yeah. Slim the Boss. Slim the Boss is in the building. What it do, baby? Can't hear you.
Oh, there we go.
There he is.
All right. I had to turn my 48V on. I had to turn the 48V.
You got to put your phantom power on. You don't put your phantom power on. You got to push the button. You got to push the button. Yeah, push the fucking button. You know what I mean? So, Slim the Boss is back in the building with your man Rob Nichols. How you feeling today, bro?
Man, I feel beautiful, man. Peace, love, and enlightenment at all times. You know what I'm talking about? Elevation,
indeed.
And motivation.
Indeed. Got that sunshine shining on you out there.
Yeah.
Took a page of my book, did you?
yeah. I decided to see what the atmospheres and the energies are do. You know what I'm saying? Since we're talking about a bright and dark subject at the same time, you know what I'm saying? I want the sun rays to be all up in it. You know what I'm saying? Indeed.
So again, bro, I appreciate you being with me on these past three episodes, the past episodes of Rabbit Hole. This is the final one for the Rabbit Hole, but it's not the last episode of anything. We'll be launching your show very soon, and we'll be telling you more about that. We're probably going to be one more show. The next show will be us talking about one more. He'll be here with me one more time, and he's going to start taking care of his own thing. But for the next show, we'll be telling you exactly what we got going on with IMU TV, the single, the NFT video and song single. We'll talk about that a little bit tonight, but we'll really be ready for launch and all that within. We'll tell you more about the launch and drop next week. So, but here we are.
Keep watching,
bro. We're getting ready to jump in. You keep watching, Jeremy. So today, y'all, as you can see what's on the screen, and if you've seen from the marketing last week, the advertisement, if you will, about this week's show, we're diving into a very sensitive subject, especially just all across the world, and we're talking about racism, specifically up front. And then also, you can't talk about racism without talking about hate and people hating each other for a multitude of reasons, right? And you
plethora.
A plethora. As you can see at the bottom, these are the top three the top four I've seen in my life and recognized as the top thing that people hate, and that's race, religion, politics, and culture. Right. So now we're gonna uh, um we're gonna we're gonna talk about why we hate, where racism came from, and then we're going to talk about how we beat it. Right, and this is what we're going to do. Now, that's going to be the most important part. And then the thing that's going to be, it's going to be tough to have some of this conversation, and it's going to be tough to think about some of the things that we're getting ready to have to talk about, and we're getting ready to have to get it all done. Right, but not today. This could be the start. We hope that it would just be a springboard for that, for you to start, and all of us to start having the conversation. Now, here's the ground rules, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the ground rules. We're here for facts, not fights. Right? We want you to respect the convo. We're going to respect the convo. If you have questions or what have you, or have comments, put them in over here in the comment section, please. And, we're going to make this thing happen. Now, before we get in here, because Slim, I'm about to play something real quick, and it's probably going to take a little bit, and it's going to take a lot off of what we had to convo, what we've already planned. I found this information that's pretty interesting. It has a lot of notation and documentation of that people can go and do their own research. So check this out, y'all. This is some information I found on YouTube, and it's going back and talking about where racism began. And this, it's going to probably get, when we come back and start having this conversation.
Sounds like a great way to set it off, bro.
It's going to be some people that's going to be a little piffed, maybe. If that type of person that needs to be piffed, then fuck you, be piffed.
Hey, look, keep it conscious and not in conflict.
That's it, straight up though. I mean, we're not here to argue, but we are here to drop facts. And if you, again, I put out a challenge 2 weeks ago that if there's a legitimate racist person out there that just straight up is looking at me and Slim the Boss, these two black men sitting here on this camera, and it makes you sick to your stomach to see black men because you just hate black people, or you hate everybody that's not your race. I don't care what you all be white, you can be whatever, you can be whatever. But if you're a legitimate racist and you do not like me and this man up here because the color of our skin, please come on. I'll send me a DM. I'll send you a link for you to be able to join us. Just let me know that you want to join us over here in the comment section, or whatever, and we'll get you on here because we really want to know. We really want to understand and try to get the information right for ourselves.
Just trying to really gain some dialogue, have some real conversation with y'all to see where's the turning point and how can we defeat it together, because
that's the whole idea, right, Slim? That's the whole idea. I mean, we can bounce our head off the walls and pull guns on each other and fight until the end of time. But what's that really going to solve? Not anything, nothing at all to show that we two bad motherfuckers that we can fight. I mean,
I'm all about war. Yeah, war. No, what about peace, togetherness?
So yeah, it's going to be a lot of this shit is going to be uncomfortable. Expect it to be uncomfortable in order for it to get comfortable. So let's check this out, y'all, and we'll come back and talk a little bit more. Let's get rid of this screen now. Yeah, all these words down here. These words hither. Let's go. Check it out.
All right, bear with me here. In World of Warcraft, when you create your character, you make two major decisions that will affect how you interact with the game. The first is your class. Great temples. Race is usually an amalgamation of culture a person's form in and of itself. But it's kind of weird and interesting, isn't it? The Zandalari built great temples covered in gold, much in the same way the Spanish Empire found the empires of the Americas during their conquests. We'll talk more about Spain later on. In video games, race is usually an amalgamation of culture, a person's aesthetic traits, and certain advantages assumed to be either biological or magical. Video games, like all media, are a reflection of our cultural tropes. In real-life humans, race is a contested topic in popular nomenclature. As a concept, it's embedded into our culture with very different meanings colloquially to scientifically. It's used to categorize, to analyze social phenomena, and in many instances to discriminate. This and other forms of targeted negative behavior based on race can be called racism. We'll talk briefly about what race is and isn't according to the science, but the main topic of this video is going to be the history of it. When did we humans start viewing things in the context of race? And when did we become racist? A quick word on sources. This video bases itself on the work of Joseph L. Graves, the first African-American to receive a PhD in evolutionary biology, as well as Alan H. Goodman, a biological anthropologist and former president of the American Anthropology Association, who co-directs the APA's education project on race. I will also be using George M. Fredrickson's Racism: A Short History. Fredrickson was a historian at Stanford University. I'm using the Princeton Classics edition published by the Princeton University Press in 2015. Finally, the historian Geraldine Heng, who is a professor at the University of Texas in Austin, and has authored works on the interaction between cultures in the Middle Ages, the literature and culture of the Crusades. As always, you will see citations down to the page number on screen, and all works used are listed in the bibliography in the description. Definitions of race in biological terms vary greatly. It's used in informal taxonomy to subdivide species that are physically and genetically different. That seems simple enough, but this video is about humans. How do humans fit into this? According to the Human Genome Project, humans today have on average 99.9% identical DNA, making it impossible to further subdivide the species of Homo sapiens. Genetic isolation, sharp boundaries, and distinct evolutionary lineages of human quote-unquote races also does not exist. According to modern science, there seemingly is no genetic basis for race, and there is more genetic variance within a race than between them. The reason someone born in Northern Europe and someone from Western Africa probably won't look the same is that the human species is home to geographically based genetic variation. However, this variation doesn't allow for any sort of scientifically defined racial categories. You can make every which attempt at it, but the evidence won't allow for racial categorization in a way that is compatible with our scientific understanding of genetics. As Graves and Goodman say, variation exists, it is wonderful and ripe for exploration, but it is not race. Confronted with these signs, I've seen some proponents of quote-unquote scientific race terminology usage on humans redefine the definition along things such as Y-DNA, inherited down the patrilineal line, or mitochondrial DNA, passed down the matrilineal line. There has been an attempt to reinvent race. The so-called scientific foundations of the concept are torn down and new ones are constructed. It's important to note here that denoting that something is a construct, as in something that arose from the human ability to conceptualize ideas, isn't a way to dismiss the idea, it's just a way to categorize, analyze, and understand it. Plenty of constructs in our social lives are positive while many are negative. Social constructs make our reality. It's how we see and interpret the world. The idea that something is a social construct is just about denoting how it arose from our capacity for socialization, and not separately from that, as say a rock formation might. Race is a worldview and social classification that divides humans into groups based on their appearance and assumed ancestry. Socially defined races are unstable categories in that definitions, names, and color lines change. Nonetheless, social race is very real, as exemplified by the difference in wealth and health. For health reasons, your doctor might ask about your racial heritage, because social categorization of race may correspond to a community that could have a higher risk of certain heritable diseases, allergies, and so on. It's a poor and inaccurate proxy, but it's a way for them to narrow things down. A problem with risk factors is that the actual reasons are generally multifaceted and complex. To give an example, Black Americans may be more at risk of certain respiratory diseases in America, because Black Americans are more likely to have lower incomes or live in economically disadvantaged areas. Buildings built after 1989 are often more expensive than the ones built before them, and asbestos was only banned for use in insulation in 1989. So you see, a lot of factors come together to form the basis for the risk factor analysis, and these very real factors are all part of your social race. Mortality rates also vary between race groups, just like how mortality rates vary between those who drive and those who don't drive, between men and women, and people who are born in one zip code as opposed to another. This video concerns itself with the concept of race that's widespread today, not other systems that may or may not constitute early systems of racism, such as the caste system in India or any other conceptions of race. That system was not adopted by a significant portion of the world and disseminated through Western colonies. That concept of race is not the one I'm talking about, and so remains outside the scope of my video and my sources. I'm also not claiming that race or racism is something unique to the West. If race as a term to define and describe biological differences is capable of being reinvented, then that logically means there must have been a point when race was invented for the very first time, and therefore a time before the concept of race. Ancient Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans never had a concept of race. There are hints of proto-racial thinking in some Greek philosophy of persons consisting of essential humors, but it's not quite at the stage of maturing into racial thinking yet. Race doesn't exist in either the Hebrew Bible or the Christian New Testament. So let's go back to the invention of race. It all begins in the Middle Ages. The earliest instance of a sort of biologicalized race used and weaponized at a wide scale comes as part of a process of escalating violence and atrocity that we today call the First Crusade. At the Council of Clement in 1095, Pope Urban II told a throng of adherents a vision of defiling, polluting Muslims who tortured and eviscerated Christians in the Holy Land, raped women, and forcibly circumcised men, spreading the circumcision blood on church altars or pouring it into baptismal fonts. Pope Urban II had proclaimed the First Crusade to a rousing cry of Deus Vult, or God wills it, from the crowd, as alleged by the sources. Later, Peter the Venerable would provide the first complete translation of the Quran for the Western world, alongside a biography of sorts on the Prophet. The translated version, titled The Law of Muhammad, the Pseudo-Prophet, became the most widely distributed. The translation contained copious notations on how Islam is to be interpreted and understood, guiding the reader to a particular idea of Islam and its adherents. This only took on a racial quality when these spurious biographies of the Prophet and of certain Muslims began to impart a general view of all Muslims. The personality traits depicted in these propagandistic biographies became personality traits of Muslims in general. After the Muslims reconquered the first Crusader colony of Edessa, Saint Bernard, the abbot of Clairvaux, spoke in support of Hugh de Payen's newly formed strange monastic order of warriors, which would come to be known as the Knights Templar. Bernard became the patron saint of this monastic order of the Temple. The idea of professional murder priests wasn't without its critics in the Christian world. After all, it sort of goes against a lot of the teachings of the Bible. To handle this, Bernard published a treatise in defense of the new warrior priests called In Praise of the New Knighthood, and in it he formulates an interesting theory justifying their existence. According to Bernard, the enemy wasn't just unspeakably vile, abominable, and accursed, as Pope Urban II had said. Muslims, according to Bernard, were quote-unquote malefactors, pure agents of evil in the world. Bernard summoned his authority to proclaim that anyone who killed a malefactor was not a killer of a human, but a killer of only evil. Bernard, in fact, explicitly called for genocide by quote-unquote removing from the earth the enemies of the Christian name, as he put it, referring to all Muslims, of course, whom he had just branded as non-human. Again, this was not a view shared by every member of the church. Peter the Venerable, who ended up providing much of the framework for racialization of Muslims, did not agree that Muslims were in fact not human beings, and that the cold-blooded murder of them was willed by God. Over the course of this contest with the homogeneously imagined, so-called inhuman enemy, the Crusaders, who in the First Crusade, according to Fulcher of Chartres, consisted of 21 different linguistic, regional, and ethno-national groups, began to see themselves as one. Their enemies did not view the Crusaders as one, instead referring to them as Romans, Greeks, Franks, Slavs, and so on. Holy war created by necessity or opportunity a superstructure to function as glue between them, granting them a common goodness against the evil of the inhuman so-called Saracen. This Christian unity of this sort was not something that existed prior to the Crusades. It was formed specifically as a result of a war with a foreign enemy that the Christians themselves constructed a homogeneous image of. The shared Christian identity became a mirrored reflection of the imagined shared Muslim identity. It starts with the other, and from that you are able to define the self. Baldric, the Archbishop of Dol, writing in the early 1100s, just after the First Crusade, said in his history of the expedition to Jerusalem, quote, "I am a Christian and have descended from Christian ancestors." Heng provides an example from a manuscript dating from 1330 or perhaps earlier, in which history and literature have made strange bedfellows partnered in improbable relations of irony over time. In this Middle English King of Tars, a white Christian princess is forced to marry a quote-unquote loathly black Muslim sultan and fake conversion to Islam. They have a child who ends up monstrous without blood, bones, or a human face, but when baptized turns healthy, and whose skin ends up not looking like a mix of the white mother and black father, but entirely white. Eventually, the Muslim sultan is convinced to convert to the Christian faith, and as he does so, his skin goes from black to white, quote, without taint. This is an overt example of race used in a way that we can easily recognize, with a juxtaposition of white and black skin, with a child born to the Sultan somehow being quote-unquote wrong. But owing to it predating modern conceptions of genetics, it also has unfamiliar connotations, with religion being tied inherently to the color of your skin. This is race, but it's far closer tied to religion at this point in history. This is where European racism starts to take shape, on the killing fields of war. A century after the First Crusade in 1218 in England, Jews were forced by law to wear badges on their chest to set them apart from the rest of the English population. In this period, scientific, medical, and theological treatises argued that Jewish bodies had fundamental natural differences to the bodies of the Christian Western Europeans. Jewish bodies, according to them, had a special stench, and some authors held that Jewish bodies came with horns and a tail. For centuries, a belief in Western Europe circulated in which Jews had to imbibe the blood of Christians in order to survive. Later that same century, the encyclopedia by Bartholomeus Anglicus, called On the Properties of Things, provided a theory of climate that explains the difference in skin color of peoples in the north and peoples in the south. While attempting to provide a climatological explanation for the skin colors, it also claims that white skin is a visual marker of inner courage, while the men of Africa, possessing black faces, short bodies, and crisp hair are quote-unquote cowards of heart and guileful. This is all exemplary of racial thinking. The debate on when we invented race, like all historical debates, is still not fully settled. It's likely more evidence will come to light and new perspectives will lead to new interpretations of old evidence. But I think it's undeniable that we can start to see the beginnings of race metastasizing in European imaginations in the first centuries after the turn of the millennium. A more mature racism, that is arguably the predecessor to our modern conceptions of race, shows itself in the sources again with the treatment of Jews, but this time in Spain in the 14 and 1500s. Jewish converts to Christianity were identified and discriminated against on the belief that they held an impurity in their blood, making it impossible for them to ever truly be Christians. In one of the most consequential years of world history, 1492, Jews were expelled from Spain, though many remained as converts. Over the course of the same period, a number of institutions and local governments enacted blood purity laws. Without a certificate of pure Christian blood, one could not be admitted into many ecclesiastical or secular organizations and orders. When Columbus arrived in the Americas, he, as many Europeans after him would do, regarded the natives who greeted him in a friendly manner as innocent children of nature, and those who greeted this foreign trespasser aggressively as savage cannibals who must be enslaved or exterminated. Africans and the indigenous were treated differently, for though the residents of the New World most definitely were enslaved at times, the sheer scale of the African slave trade would eclipse that of the enslavement of the peoples of the New World. One reason for this harkens back to that one manuscript from hundreds of years prior by Bartholomeus Anglicus about how the climate affected people's skin color. When Europeans arrived in Brazil, which held a similar latitude to that of West Africa, they realized that Brazilian Amerindians did not possess the same skin pigmentations as they would expect in accordance with this climate model of skin color. So instead of discounting the theory, they fell back onto the second part of the writings, themselves influenced by European cultural traditions of white being viewed as clean and pure and dark as associated with evil and the devil. To many Europeans who protested the enslavement of natives, who they viewed as innocent children of nature, the idea that they could have been cursed by God himself to be a race of slaves made the idea much more palatable. Spain and Portugal then became the first principal exporters of a new conception of race that served as a bridge between the old ideas of religion and culture as a racialized concept and a new idea of an inherent tendency towards heresy passed down through blood. Alongside this, the globalization that was beginning to intensify with the emergence of the world capitalist economic system meant that these ideas were transported and disseminated alongside the system itself as it made inroads into every part of the world. Capitalism didn't create racism, but when capitalism and the emerging world economic order brought with it all its other ideas, it also brought with it race. With the coming modernity, concepts of race began to incorporate modern concepts of science. Stricter doctrines and ideologies of racism began to emerge, with concrete rules of how the natural world was ordered into a so-called scientific natural system of races. This calcification of the concept of race came in part as the concept and ideas of racism came under attack by slavery abolitionists, religious persons, and others who realized the inherent contradictions of a society of equals with no kings and no rulers but God that treated some persons as lesser than others. There of course were secular attacks on the institutions of racism as well. One of these came from the man whose ideas many racists explicitly relied on to justify their hierarchical racial systems. It came from Darwin himself. Charles Darwin's family were abolitionists. Over the course of his career, he contributed major scholarships that helped debunk the idea of separately created human species with differing origins, and the idea of an innate hierarchy among human types. Though modern racism was and still is often justified through the theories of genetics and evolution, ironically, these scientific disciplines increasingly find that there is nothing of value to these theories, just like Darwin did. They don't help explain reality because they don't conform to reality. Biological race in the sense does not exist. Race was invented over the course of historical historic, long processes of violent contact between cultures and groups as a means for justifying the violence or to forge shared identities so as to bolster their strength when carrying out the violence. But social race does exist, where people belonging to one of these socially constructed races are generally of a similar socioeconomic class and often suffer similar health issues as a result of their social position. Some are targeted more or less by the enforcers of the state, or by organizations founded on the principle of excluding their race from society throughout history and now. To finish off the video, in The Voyage of the Beagle, Darwin made comments on the gap between the English gentleman and native South Americans, but he also said, quote, "If the misery of the poor be caused not by the laws of nature but by our institutions, then great is our sin."
Wow. 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 Oh yeah, they do that sometimes, bro. Oh, yo, I don't know about y'all. I mean, listen, Slim, yo, listen. I had to play that first before us beginning the conversation because I did not want any of this conversation to be taken as we are being speaking from a biased perspective of because we are people of color. This is what I wanted to make sure that you receive some information that came from more than just people of color. You seen all of those people that were documented at the very beginning. Those people were of multiple ethnicities.
Right.
Yes, the first one that they said was a black man. But you go and do the research, and the rest of them, you seen an Asian woman, and you do your research. If you watch the video, if you go back and watch the video again, it's because it will. You can watch it here on X, watch wherever it is that you want to watch it from. You'll be able to see all of the document, all of the bibliography information that was at the bottom of the screen. Go and find the books yourself. So that I had to say all that to say this. So then, what you think, man? What do you think, man?
I think that was a bomb dropper. Like for a lot of people to wake up on, though, you know what I'm saying? Like, because a lot of people have the misconception because they have the indoctrination concept and it's been embedded inside of their consciousness and their subconsciousness so much for so many decades and generations, and it's passed down hate. That's all it is. It's passed down hate and toxicity.
As you can see. As you can obviously see. So any of you, let's we're gonna get because we get ready to go off and because that was the who, what, when, where, why, and why, right?
Yeah.
That's the who, what, when, where, and why. So we're gonna talk about and talk about how to make that change. But first, let's talk about that who, what, when, where, why. Listen at that first, the very first from the jump, right? So what did it went all the way back, and it all the way, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because so many people have such diehard faith. And I ain't knocking what nobody believes, but you can see it all started from religious differences.
Religious differences in order to profit.
In order to profit. Because the dude that they talked about early on, he made up stories to make.
And that right there lets you know that is fabricated. Is only to entice the mind so you can look at another type of people differently. And with hate.
With hate. That whole concept that one human being had enough power to create that bullshit, give it to a king or a queen, and the queen and the king got mad power. Now they got power over lands. They got power over many lands. And then it escalates on into this to where you sit right to people in colonialized America. These Western shores, the Western civilization.
The colonized.
For those of you who look at, let's call a spade a spade. Let's call it duck a duck. It's a European concept.
It is. That's based actually off of Roman Empire tactics.
Based off of Roman Empire tactics. But you can see even the Roman Empire didn't even recognize the differences in this.
Right. No, they didn't. They just wanted to shut people up when they complained too much. That's how they came up with the Roman circus and all of that type of stuff. They just wanted you to live under the illusion so they wouldn't have to hear your complaints.
See, that's not so different than today. You know what I mean? We just saw that happen with, your man Charlie.
Yeah.
Somebody do that to him because he's talking too much. And, that's what that's about. You know, they don't want to talk too much.
Then again, this is the rabbit hole. So let me put a little bit more on that. But the conspiracy, quote unquote, behind that is he got assassinated right the day before they were supposed to release those Epstein files. And now this huge distraction for the whole nation is on Charlie, this person who was out here, making noise and standing 10 toes down on what he believed and actually having conversation, creating dialogue with people. So that had everybody in a frenzy, in a rage.
It's so crazy because that goes. Man, I love, bro. Let's go back.
And they voted no.
Let's go back. They're not going to release them. And it goes back to that second thing in there. That usually the first two is already there. The beef in religion caused the identity of race, which ultimately became politics. And all of that now has become the culture of human beings and Western civilization around the world based off of these lies.
Right.
Something
these
that you
lies, these illusions, the delusion, they got a rabbit hole within themselves, and it's working too much.
Crazy working. It's crazy working. It's working so much to the point now that people are relentlessly hurting each other and dividing from each other based on things that they don't even know the half about.
I'm talking about, man. They would take a 45-second clip off social media and deem their life hateable to that person enough to go cause harm. Just because of a 45-second clip of a 2-hour conversation.
So what do we do about this? Right? So what do we do about this? What can we do? Right? What really can we do? So let me go to my notes here. Let me go to my notes because I got some notes. I took some notes for real. We can see this started during colonial times, and we can see it's recognizing this, and then it gets systemic because now it branches off from more than just the color, right? Because to me, racism goes now beyond. To me, racism is the evil code of labeling. Is what I like to call it. Yeah, it's the evil code of labeling individuals so that you can pick on them or call somebody out to anybody that becomes your enemy when you're in power, and that's ultimately what. Who caused all of this? Those individuals who were in power and have been in power during those time frames. I mean, I'm making this up. You just saw it yourself. Don't act like I'm talking nothing that you ain't heard, right? So how do we change this, right? So we got 4 types of racism. You got individual and internalized racism. That's we even internalize that as, and some whites, who have good old boy grandparents and great grandparents. They taught all of their friends, black people are lazy, these people are this, and wetbacks, and I'm using slurs, niggers, and black spics, and blah blah.
They ain't gonna do shit but rob and steal and kill you.
How stupid is these words? How stupid are these words that you even put any power behind these words to think that they mean something? Because they don't. Especially when you can understand how to break down the mentality behind it. Let's go back and unlearn this shit. Let's unlearn this craziness.
That's the key right there. If you so grown, unlearn your childhood education.
You know what I mean?
Don't be stupid. You know what I'm saying? But
and we realize it's bigger than just 1 or 2, but it starts because we know it's systemic racism. We know it's all kind of things that set into play, for people of color, especially in the United States, that, redlining and all kinds of, stereotypes and blah, 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 and all of these type of things, right? We know that exists. Right? We know we got psych barriers that people, it's hard to your mind to, especially you got social norms and shit like that. You're trying to stay in, fit in. You may not want to put back, but I'm going to tell you what's real, y'all.
It's categorized. I'm going to tell you what's real.
There is no magic pill, but evidence shows that progress through education, policy, and action. So we can focus on anti-racism and actively dismantling systems, not just not being racist. The UN's Durban Declaration on Victim-Centered Fight Law states this. It says, you can get a lot of information on that. On a personal level, we can educate ourselves on how to be an anti-racist. There's a book called How to Be an Anti-Racist by Kendi. That's Kendi. Challenge biases daily. Observe reactions. Listen to the people that's around you. That's the people of color. If we hear about people saying white privilege, and that, to me, that's reverse racism to me, because it's just a simple You know, it's another label thing. And what would you say is it? Well,
it's a tit for tat thing too.
It's a tit for tat thing. Why do that?
Yeah.
Why even do that? Fuck all that. No, we're not doing that. The idea is now to me to try to place myself in a better mindset if I'm a person of color, because I got a lot of stories to tell you how I've dealt personally directly with white officers and white cities when I was clearly wrong, and they helped me.
Man,
and they helped me. I didn't end up a statistic. So I'm not saying that all of the black men or people that got shot by police, you know, just
right. That's not true.
That's not just true. I'm just saying, you know, some of them were wrong and probably fucked up and did too much too quick. You know what I mean? Came right. But I have my own personal stories of saying that is not always the case. That you don't have to always be, because I know how to handle myself, right? So what else? Community, interpersonal. What does that mean, right? And this is where it gets real sticky. This is where it gets real sticky, right? Because I want you to chime in for real on this one.
Okay.
Well, you and I talk about, you know, our white friends. And then we talk about those crackers.
The saltine motherfuckers. I'm gonna let it be known. You know, I'm transparent. I don't care. It is what it is. I don't believe in cancel culture.
Now, what we mean by that? Now, don't take that all twisted and get your panties in a bunch. When we talking about the crackers, saltines, we talking about the ones that like to wear the pointy hats with the eyes cut out of them. Those that want to run around here and say, you know, shaving their head off all like ours is done. Fuck the niggers and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the ones that wake up every single day.
Those are the ones we talk
wake up every single day and say, "Fucking niggers on this goddamn planet." I wish all they fucking just get the fuck out.
I wish all damn
we separate them from our white friends.
I wish I had my pillow. We're gonna kill us all. We're gonna kill them all. I don't give a damn. We're gonna kill all of them. We're gonna kill all of them. They're gonna get them all. Look how stupid that sounds. Look how ignorant that even looks. Look how foolish that even looks. How even makes any human being think. Right. So, but here's where it's going to have to really take root. And I've seen so many of my white friends, so many of your white friends, so many Europeans around the world that I've seen stand up and against this bullshit. I've seen it. I just seen it the other day. Some white man down in Kentucky. They had seen some old white man hanging around saying, putting signs up saying "fuck black, fuck black, fuck black," and he went. He was tearing them down, and then knocked on his door like, "Hey man. We ain't having that around here.
Doing that in this neighborhood.
We're not doing
that hate.
We're not bringing that around here. We're not bringing it around. Flat out, him and this man was like, if you come around here and say, I ain't no big tough guy. He said, but if you bringing that in my neighborhood, I'm going to knock on your door about it. We need as many of our brothers and sisters of the European race in this country to stand up and stand out on this issue. When we start
with that same energy.
That same exact energy, and we need to be able to sit down. We need to have these tough conversations. We need to have them. They need to get, you know, we need to cry together. We need to hug. We need to bury the past. We need to figure out. And one of the big things that we have to do is we have to spend more time with each other.
Yes, spending more time with each other will make everybody come to the realization that it's not that, it's this. It's genuine when you really get to know a person of a different skin tone, of a different nationality, of a different ethnicity, of a different race, if you will, because it's only one race. It's the human race. We have different nationalities and ethnicities, of course. We have different regions and geographical structures of where we come from, but dude, it's only one race.
Flat out. That's the human race and then the race of life. If it's true, that's it. Because we all in both. We're all in the human race, and we all in this race of life.
We all in sync.
And we all in sync.
We in sync with insects and fucking animals, trees, leaves, fucking bushes. Plants.
We have to come together today, y'all. We have to come together and look at this shit for what it really is. These are divisive measures, and tactics that those that want to remain in power, that are even more powerful than the people that we think are powerful. They want to remain. They want to keep us all at each other's throats. They want to keep us all fighting. They want to keep us all looking at each other stupid. Because if we come together and start working together and doing together, we don't need nobody else but each other.
Indeed. And let me tap on that, because they want to they want us to compete with each other, to have the divide as the greatest thing on earth. Their divide, that's their divide. This is not our divide, man. And it's crazy because messages and energies and frequencies come in the weirdest places sometimes that you don't even look for it. Look at that scene in The Bug's Life. I just saw it earlier today for some reason, and I guess the frequencies was coming down because we was about to talk about this and had this cast today. You know what I'm saying? Right. So think about that scene in A Bug's Life when those other bugs, those other insects was like, hey. The dude said something about, hey, it's just one ant, and he stood up to me, but nothing happened. Then he knocked him out. Bow. He said, hey, if you let one do it, how's that feel? He started throwing pebbles at him. Bow. It was like, oh, that's nothing. Bow. What about that? Oh, that's nothing. Pow. Or what about that? And then he let the whole contraption of all the pebbles go, and they powed on them. They screamed, in agony. And he said, if you let one get over on you, they all will feel like they can, and they outnumber us 1,000,000 to 1. That is a life lesson of reality in what we live in this construct that we call a government that we listen to. That's real shit.
Mm-hmm. We got to pay attention. It's our time. It's our time as citizens. It's our time as citizens and members of the human race to stand up on these issues. I don't care what I look like, what you look like. I don't care what your personal preferences is in this life. If you're working hard every single day, you're getting up and you're working to be progressive, then you deserve that as much respect as anybody else. I don't deserve nobody has any ups and nobody is any better or different. Every human being arranges themselves in ranks. And if you can't get past that, if you can't get past the color of skin, you can't get past where a person is from, the sexual preference, what they choose to believe in or faithfully rely on, then you are fucking up and you're living in a life that's real. That's an illusion.
You're the problem.
You're the problem
because at the end of the day, what the fuck do it got to do with your life? How is it affecting your life so negatively that you see a person of a darker skin tone or a person of a different sexual preference or something? Does it hurt your bank account? Does it make your fucking lights cut off? Do your car shut off? Does anything negative happens to you to where you are affected to the point where your life is shutting down just because there's adversity out here? How stupid do you sound, bro? You sound like an idiot. You're a piece of shit. It is what it is.
And if you want, and we're getting raw today, y'all. We're getting raw. Y'all know. I told y'all that this week was not going to be an easy stomach one, and it was not intended to be. And the reason why is because it's time. It is time. We can unlearn this bullshit. We can unlearn the hate. We can unlearn it. The realest way is to first get rid of the labels in your mind. Let's say I'm going out to meet a friend today and I'm trying to find somebody that don't look like me.
Right.
Be my friend. Yep. I want to find out more about somebody that don't look like me. I would genuinely want to find somebody that don't look like me to be my friend. And I want to try to continue to make that happen. I want to have conversations about what their lives are about so they can tell my life. I can tell them how I think so I can learn a little bit more about why this idea of hating somebody because of an idea, a color of skin, or religious concept, any of that fucking asinine.
It's asinine because it's an agenda. And guess what? None of us created the fucking agenda. So why are we following it? Why the fuck are you following an agenda that you didn't even create? And it's not benefiting you. It's just making your life more in turmoil. It's making your life a piece of shit because you're following into the fucking crab in a bucket concept of being a piece of shit like the people who fucking made this goddamn agenda that got you indoctrinated and fucked up in this construct and their matrix, man. Get out of the fucking matrix. Unplug. Take that shit out the back of your head, man, and rethink within your consciousness, my nigga. And I say my nigga because I'm talking to everybody. Yes, you my nigga. I don't give a fuck. You gonna be my nigga today.
As you can see, me and Slim have this conversation off a lot because it's one of them. So, but we've come to the end of another episode. We got about a couple of minutes left in this thing, man. And look, I mean, I know it was a rough deal, y'all. I know y'all probably like, damn, Rob and Slim up there tripping today. No, we ain't tripping, man. I'm gonna tell y'all what it is for real, man. I'm just tired. I am tired of seeing us as a species do so much damage to each other, man. We just hurting each other over and over and over again. I mean, we treat each other like the worst of the worst. I'm tired, man. I'm tired of seeing it, and I know that we can be better. I know we can be better.
We have to be better, bro.
We have to be better. We have to be. And if we don't, then we're leaving. What are we leaving the world? What are we leaving the world to? A bunch of
Man,
madness.
ain't gonna be no world. Because if
So,
we don't find the love, the relationship, the infusing, the blocking of the hate, the rebellion against the agenda, man, then this world is going to come to an end, and we're going to be the cause of it.
we're the cause of it. So we got 4 minutes left on the clock, man. And we got to get on off the building, get off because the network says it's time to go. So, Brother Slim, we got a hot minute. I need to play this video. Give your last words.
Man, my last word will be real simple, man. PLE. That's my new quote, my new thing is peace, love, and enlightenment.
Yes, sir.
Enlighten your conscience, man. Get there, man. Rebel against the agenda. The agenda is not yours, so you shouldn't follow it.
Amen. From your man Robb Nichols today, and every day, the word is love for today is love. Spread the love. Fuck the hate, man. Let's go. You already know. You already know what type of party it is, man.
Because ain't no party like an IMU party.
Ain't no party like an IMU party. Because an IMU party don't stop. We out.
It's Robb Nichols, Superman, protecting the frequencies. This is what I do. I protect your frequencies every chance I get. Party like an IMU party, cause an IMU party don't stop. Ain't no party like an IMU party, cause an IMU party don't stop. And he say, ain't no party like an IMU party, cause an IMU party don't stop. Ain't no party like an IMU party, cause an IMU party don't stop. Welcome everybody to the IMU party. Helping independent artists try to beat somebody. Bumping on the big screen, 23 countries. People that doubted the industry, they didn't want me. Now I'm on the festa, now will never dump me. I am beautiful. Tell the rulers where they want me. XRP, protecting the frequencies. Me now Cottrell, you know my man Fitzy. Saying it loud, our community too strong. Think we gon' fall off? We proving you too wrong. Putting on first is the rhythm we move on. We level out the playing field so they can get the groove on. Fans, we love it, protected, they got you buzzing. Oh, you thought that we wasn't? You better ask, cousin. I am UTD, IMC, protected of the legend and the frequency. Let's go. Let's go, real loud. Let me hear you say, ain't no party like an IMU party, cause an IMU party don't stop. Ain't no party like an IMU party, cause an IMU party don't stop. Let me hear you say, ain't no party like an IMU party, cause an IMU party don't stop. Ain't no party like an IMU party, cause an IMU party don't stop.
We protecting the frequencies, protecting the frequencies.
We protecting the legend too, we protecting the legend too, that's true.
We protecting the frequencies, protecting the frequencies.
And we protect the legend too, we protecting the legend true. Welcome to our corner of the universe. Harmony and perfect frequency is how we do the verse. And we're not alone, support has been strong. You will see exactly where we go by the end of this song. The first shot, you gotta be XRP. Big will, no act, yes, props indeed. Yeah. My man James Ray, you keep us on the run and do the shifting. Magazine forgiving PR, that's an early. But that song put the word out on the daily, man. Dip a toe, optimistic, prime, rapping crazy, man. Planned up for Tierra, Susan, and Rosemary. You prove true, you know, very. And the artist you won't find will keep you grooving the time and moving line and shaking your behind. Rob with the MC, the line you will find a rhyme like this to make you have a good time. Let's go, real loud. Let me hear you say, ain't no party like an IMU party, cause an IMU party don't stop. Ain't no party like an IMU party, cause an IMU party don't stop. Let me hear you say, ain't no party like an IMU party, cause an IMU party don't stop. Ain't no party like an IMU party, cause an IMU party don't stop.
We protecting the frequencies, protecting the frequencies.
We protecting the legend too, we protecting the legend too, that's true.
We protecting the frequencies, protecting the frequencies.
And we protect the legend too, we protecting the legend true.
That's control for your man, Robb Nichols, Slim the Boss. Make sure you tune in with man Uncle Rob on J15 Thursday for Frequencies Amplified. And we're going to break it down, break it on down with that education. You know what I mean? Thank y'all for tuning in. We love y'all. Peace.